What's up, family? Welcome back to the Stop Sinking Show, where we go from struggle to flow. I want you to ask yourself something. This is not an answer that you need to have for me or anybody else other than yourself. It's an answer I've been seeking from myself too. Do you live your life with purpose? Are the things you watch, things you listen to, things you read, things you work on, things you are trying to learn and develop, are all these things, at least 80% of them, somewhat guided by fulfilling and serving a higher purpose, some grand goal that contributes to the meaning of your life? And if you're like most people, and not on a clearly defined career path like a doctor, or not aligned with or sticking to the usual societal path, which is like most of us now, it doesn't make us special, and you're really asking yourself this question, chances are your real honest truth is not pretty. You're probably living on accident, like I am, like most of us. And that isn't necessarily a tragedy if you're at peace with it. But the problem is that for most of us, the purpose that is not there leaves a void. We're not at peace with it. And we try to fill that void with everything. For someone not necessarily at peace, for most of us who live in an anxious state, it is a clear indication that there is a huge consequence of not having purpose, the anxiety itself. And one of the main consequences is that your thirst for it never feels quenched, and you are constantly looking for another hit of it. You try to fill that void in the seeking of it through everything. A big part of that is through relationships, hoping that you find yourself in other people. Or for the time being, at least being somewhat numbed by the validation cycle that that relationship provides you. Even if it doesn't fulfill you, at least it numbs you for that time being. And this is probably where most of us are stuck, hoping that someone has something in them to give us that we cannot give ourselves. Maybe it's a reason to live, something enduring. And this is the greatest trick that we play on ourselves and the cause of so much awakening and avoidable hurt. The essence of you cannot be found in anyone else. And people are people. They wake up with different intentions every morning. It's not fair for you to peg your purpose onto them, to someone, to anything that wakes up every morning with a different intention. We look for purpose in haphazard accomplishments and progress. This is quite a destructive consequence because your lack of purpose, mixed with someone like me with your conscientious nature to have purpose, to still have the need for it, and not having it, makes you constantly try and fill that purpose void with getting better at something, anything. And usually that keeps you busy and away and distracted away from finding your purpose in the first place, because you get it through cheap dopamine. And I've hid my purpose from me for years by hiding it in productivity. It looks amazing from the outside, but it's to no avail for me. It gives me no answers. And most of the times, when you see yourself identifying with something strongly, which is really your ego looking for labels to perform with, most of those times, your identity that's so tied up in those things like items, ideas, rituals, culture, style, appearance, anytime you see yourself not being able to tell yourself apart from these things, as if you would not be yourself without them, that identification, when you recognize this, is a moment to pause and understand that this is the manifestation of misguided purpose. It's purpose screaming out for it to be honed and directed towards something and not be slipped away and lost in these identifications. How much of the world did we just sum up in these identifications? Sounds like the bulk of us, right? What does that say about the amount of purpose that we're all living with? If so many of us are caught up in visible efforts to fill the void that purpose has left. Because we can clearly see when someone is passionately identified with their appearance or their ritual or their style. We can see it. what we can see there is someone who is void of purpose. And their purpose is leaking out in this manifestation that's so loud enough for you to see. And I almost have this conversation about purpose in my mind from almost a place of envy, a bit of jealousy, and not of anyone in specific. And from the outside looking in, I really don't know what's driving any individual. It could be insecurity, to me, what looks like purpose. But because the past couple years, if I just compared myself to me, because the past couple years have challenged the core of my own purpose in life so much, I'm envious even of myself in the past when I had a clear thing driving my actions. And I'm envious today maybe of those that seem to be led by their purpose. And most of the examples that come to my head about people living out their clear purpose are from countless interviews I listen to on podcasts. And I listen to a lot of podcasts every week. And of course, those people are on those podcasts because they're renowned in the regard of that purpose. They've really followed it and are now known for it. So maybe I'm judging myself and comparing myself against the absolute ideal. Because I don't know if I have clear examples of people in my own life who I would trade lives with. It really is these absolute ideal people. But nonetheless, the deep yearning that it points to for a purpose is still there. When I listen to these people, forget whether they're at arm's length or not. What screams out at me is that I wish I was this passionate and had the purpose of something to follow, to build, to fix, to research, to define years of my life, for it to drive my life. There's a deep yearning for that purpose. And I'm deeply in awe with people who have such clarity. At the same time, deeply saddened by the void of that in my own life, which, like I said, just to survive, I fill up with too many things that I'm seeking to be my refuge while devoid of this clear reason to be. And there's plenty of reasons for why what I felt was my purpose I no longer connect to, and I'll get into that on a different episode. It's a very deep conversation. But the point is, I have experienced myself on both ends of the spectrum, being super driven because I knew one grand reason of my life that I anchored everything to, and now I know the abyss that is life without that. And I can tell you, you will not survive without pursuing purpose. So what I'm doing now, at least at this stage, is heeding some advice from JP. While I don't have his grand purpose, the advice that I'm trying to apply is to humble myself. Stop thinking on the grand scale that my purpose needs to be tied to, and just start by fixing the very thing in front of me that needs fixing and that I would fix and that I could fix. And I'll go even as far as to say that what I'm learning is that it is not even the magnitude or the size of the purpose or your why that matters. Because I always thought I needed some grand why. What really matters is, no matter how big or small that why is, that it's clear enough and your strength to commit to it, to see it to fruition, the strength of your commitment to see it in real life, in tangible form, to see it to fruition, is what guides your actions. That commitment is what guides your actions. No matter how big the purpose is, just having the resolve to see it to real life, to see it to fruition, will guide your actions, because everything can be passed through the filter of, does this action help or hurt the purpose I am trying to serve, no matter how big? And even that much of a boundary to guide your decisions, your habits, your hobbies, your distractions, is a leg up from where most of us are today. And if what you're doing isn't in pursuit to fulfill some purpose, what exactly are you doing it for? Entertainment? Good luck with where that life gets you. I doubt I'll be envious of that life. Love you, family. Stay true, always. See you in the next show.